Okay, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Double A Hef here with another dose of the Truth Scope. So, as you can see on the screen, what we're gonna be talking about, and also there's another slide I'm gonna show you that we're gonna be talking about as well. Obviously, they both pertain to the quote unquote Black Lives Matter uh, mother mother movement, or the umbrella, I guess you would call it, because obviously there's different sects of the Black Lives Matter across the world, actually across the world. So a lot of them always try to say, well, hey, I represent Black Lives Matter, but I'm not part of the BLM movement, like as far as like the website goes. And what people need to understand something. If if you're on like, for instance, baseball. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I do love baseball. The Mets are my team, always have been, always will be my team. So, for instance, if you are playing minors for like the Brooklyn Cyclones, right? You can't draw a distinction between you and the Mets, because yeah, you might say that, hey, like, that's them, this is us, but no, they're the parent company, dude. They're a parent company. Same thing when it comes to like ESPN. If you work for ESPN, you can't draw a distinction and say, oh, well, Disney, I don't really get down with Disney. No, motherfucker, you work for Disney, bro. You know what I'm saying? So no matter how much you try to draw a line in the sand or make these distinctions, ultimately at the end of the day, it's still the same head to that horse. So again, I see it all the time when I'm having discussions. Well, I'm trying to have discussions with people that are soaking in the whole BLM movement, and I try to explain to them that it's a Marxist movement. And I think the biggest issue is that a lot of people don't even know what that means. They don't know what it actually means. So then they're like, oh, well, that's the global movement, and it's like, nah, man, look, you're still preaching the same thing. All right, you're preaching Luciferianism, you're preaching woman worship, you're preaching to eradicate your ass. Mind you, the majority of people I'm having these conversations with are quote unquote black men. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm trying to let these dudes know, like, yo, you are a foot soldier to your own demise. Like, they don't want nothing to do with your ass, okay? They're trying to break down the nuclear family. Mainly you. Mainly you. But that, I made so many videos about that, and I'm sure I'll make more, but I don't want to spend too much time talking about that aspect of this. So, obviously, I'm going to read it, then I'm going to break it down. So, Black Lives Matter statement on Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. Now, obviously, this was a couple weeks ago, but yeah, I saved it, and then I didn't have time to get around to making the video, so here we are. We are not shocked. We are not shocked. Today's not guilty verdict is expected when white supremacy lives and breathes within our institutions. Okay, so let's just stop there real fast. They say they're not shocked. They say that it's expected when white supremacy lives and breathes within our institutions. So first, let me break this down. They're not sitting here giving you examples of what the white supremacy is or how it's actually maneuvering, right? White supremacy, in their words, right, how they're speaking about it, is like the goddamn air that you breathe, right? You don't see it, right? It's invisible. It's like gravity. It's an invisible force, right? But no, white supremacy, based off how people speak about it, shouldn't be that. You should be able to point out how and why something is aligned to white supremacy and racism, right? Like, you should be able to objectively look and say, okay, that is definitely white supremacist, or like, racist friendly. But you see that they fail to do that, and they don't do that because, one, they don't have to, because they know that you're gonna get a whole bunch of wokey woke Negroes that's just gonna go follow them because it's BLM. Why not, right? And then second, because they can't objectively point out and say, hey, this is beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like, this is it. Like, if you've ever been in an argument, and I'm talking to brothers out there. Obviously, my channel is directed to the quote unquote black men. I'm talking to men. All right. Well, I'll rephrase that. Males, because I understand there's definitely a distinction between men and males. And then obviously I want my videos to be reached by males. That way they can, ultimately make the change to being a man. So, with that being said, um, they can't point out how, like, oh, okay, they see this and this and this. That's how it is racist, or that's how it's white supremacist friendly, right? When you have a discussion or argument or a debate with another male, right? You tend to bring like what we call them. We call them receipts. You bring receipts, especially if you got them, right? If you got them, then it's like an open closed case in your mind. You're like, well, first and foremost, I got these receipts. This, and this. That proves, what I'm saying, that. Now, mind you, most women, they don't do that when they're having conversations. They're talking about feelings and emotions and all sorts of bullshit that no one really gives a fuck about, right? So, as a man, don't you find it a little peculiar that they're just coming out here making these flagrant ass statements, but can't back it up? Because first and foremost, if it is so like egregious and it's like, wow, that is so blatant, and if we have to speak about it, then they're gonna bring it up. They're gonna point it out, right? That's what you do. That's what you do in that case. But again, BLM is run by a whole bunch of quote unquote black lesbian Marxists. Okay. And that's not me being disrespectful. That's me actually being respectful. That's what the fuck they are. And that's what the fuck they say they are. So, I know a lot of these brothers try to get all fucking defensive and shit, but nigga, y'all don't even know like who I'm talking about then, I guess. Y'all never even watched a fucking interview, read an article. Like these are their words. So it can't be disrespectful. That is, I guess, me showing them respect. So and again, my issue isn't with them. My issue is with the people that's following them blindly. Because you're always gonna have people out here that will have nefarious things in mind, but ultimately it's up to the people to decide whether they're gonna be confederate with it or not. And unfortunately, a lot of our people just fucking fall in line and don't ask any questions or think. It is a reminder of how our legal systems are deeply rooted in white supremacy. So again, like just from a base level, the Kyle Rittenhouse case was a young white dude shooting some other white dudes. Now, how that screams white supremacy, I'm not even gonna say I don't know. I'm gonna say it doesn't. Okay, it doesn't scream white supremacy. But these are just trigger words in a statement that they've used to put out because they know that they have to get a word out, and they're just gonna put something out that's just gonna go with their agenda for the most part. Yeah. They're not gonna give anything else because look at that. What is that statement about? What does that statement say? What's it say? There's nothing. It's just words. It's a word soup just thrown out, and then people digest it and just freaking run with it, and that's very very sad. So hold on. Let me go to the next slide because this video is going a little longer than I wanted it to. This one, Black Xmas. Okay. As we prepare ourselves for the holiday season, we are bombarded with ads that seek to whip us up into a consumerist frenzy. Black Friday sales are being rolled out weeks in advance of Thanksgiving, and at every turn, white supremacist capitalism is telling us to spend our money on things that we don't need to reap profits for corporations. So, there's a few things to unpack here. First, let me start out with the Black Friday. Yeah, Black Friday's been those sales been moving up, for the longest now. They've been moving up for years. I don't even understand why the emphasis is still on Black Friday. It's just an excuse for people to spend money for sales that aren't really oftentimes actual sales. But that's a whole nother conversation. Let's get to the bulk of it. We are bombarded with ads that seek to whip us up into a consumerist frenzy. Now, first and foremost, let's say this. Is that true? Yes. Is it exclusive to quote unquote black people? No. Everyone in the nation is bombarded with ads to whip them up into a consumerist frenzy. But you know what? That's also good for the nation. we live in a capitalist society, okay? So yes, that's good. When businesses make money, that's a great thing for the country. Ultimately, obviously there needs to be checks and balances in these corporations because you don't want corporations getting way too strong and then having a stronghold on the American populace, which seems to be the case. Then that's a whole other video again, and that's detailed by the whole vaccine mandates and stuff like that. But again, that's a whole separate video. So look again, Is that first part correct? Yes, it is. But is it solely aimed towards quote unquote blacks in America? No. So um, stop trying to make yourself the victim. Okay, there's nothing special about you in this regard. Whether you were a fucking talking and walking crayon with a fucking bank account, they be bombarding you with ads as well. Okay, so next, um, let's go. At every turn, white supremacist capitalism. So let's just stop right there. I made a video months ago about, I think it's called, "Is Capitalism Racist?" or something like that. And you can definitely go watch the video, but ultimately the answer is no. No. Capitalism, kind of like justice, is blind. Is blind because it works off of like a system, supply and demand, and if in the product and the product value based off of what the consumers say it is. That's the society that we live in. So there's nothing racist about it. It's either you got it or you don't. Okay, but there's nothing stopping you from coming up with an innovative idea or inventing something new. There's nothing stopping anybody. Now, am I sitting here saying that everyone can go out there and create or innovate? No, of course not. Of course not. That's not the case. But that opportunity is still out there for whoever wants to grab it. All right. So it's not about racism. It's not like, hey, if I come up with some dope ass shit that, oh, because I'm black, I'm not going to be able to make it. No, there's niggas right now making TikTok videos or making dance videos or doing whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? And they making money. Making money. So you can't sit here and say, "Oh, capitalism is racist." It's not. Again, if you're gonna make statements like that, if you're gonna make statements that are so egregious and so flagrant and so dangerous, and I say dangerous because you're putting batteries in people's backs that don't belong there. Okay, you're invigorating people to get shot the fuck up doing some dumb shit. Okay, in the name of BLM, and you're just gonna come out here and use their death to push fucking LGBTQ agendas, or agendas for different people, or further break down the quote unquote black family structure. So again, uh, white supremacist capitalism. There's no reason to tie white supremacists to capitalism. Capitalism is its own thing. Like for instance, the word justice, like I said, justice is supposed to be blind. That's why Lady Justice is blindfolded, right? Because that's what justice is. If you have justice, then it is blind by nature, okay? Because that's what it means. And then obviously, if you have capitalism, like capitalism is capitalism. You don't put any other words before it or after it to try to change it. That's what it is. Okay, if you have to do that, then that's not capitalism. That is something else, totally something else, right? So, uh, it's telling us to spend our money on things that we don't need to reap profits for corporations. Look, ultimately, like I said in the beginning, that's what this country is about. Now, if you have an issue with corporations making money and stuff like that, then maybe you should start your own corporation. Hmm? There's nothing stopping quote unquote black people from being the leaders and the business owners that they want to be to reap these rewards. Right? And again, it's not a problem. It's not a bad thing to get money and spend money. It's actually a great thing. But again, if you haven't see, look, BLM, right? BLM, this is their statement about Black Xmas. But do you see anything in here saying, hey, instead of taking the money and spending it, on things that we don't need in corporations, yada yada, how about we take all our money and we spend it at black businesses? Huh? This is Black Lives Matter statement. This is from their website. Look at the top, blacklivesmatter.com. This is where they came from. How come they're not saying, hey, this is your black people, instead of spending all your money at Macy's and stuff like that, here's a list of quote unquote black businesses broken down by region that you can go and buy gifts from. That way we're building up our black businesses. Why didn't they do that? Wouldn't that be great? Because then these black businesses can reap the benefits, and then they can reinvest in these quote unquote black businesses in the quote unquote black communities. One hand wash the other. How come they didn't do that? Black Lives Matter is a global fucking organization. You mean to tell me they don't have the means to do what the fuck I just said? They didn't do it because that's not their agenda. And also probably because a lot of those businesses will be run by quote unquote black men. And quote unquote black men are the enemy to BLM. Oh, let me rephrase that. Um, living, breathing, quote unquote black men are the enemy to BLM. Okay? So, when y'all reading this stuff, when y'all out here like, oh, just blindly, like, especially if y'all niggas is in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, like, oh, BLM, Black Lives Matter, all this other stuff, and putting up the Marxist fist, you's a fucking fool, man. You's a fool. And I feel bad for you, but that's why I make these fucking videos, man. Because y'all need to wake the fuck up. The writing's on the wall. Like, they're not even, like, trying to deceive you. They're not even trying. You just willingly deceiving yourself. And it's a damn shame. But again, like I said, ask that question. Why the fuck did Black Lives Matter not do the idea that I just literally just came up with, huh? If you really care about black lives, then you should be caring about black businesses, especially ones in the quote unquote black community that's going to reinvest in the fucking community. That's going to ultimately give jobs to the quote unquote black people in the community. But instead, they're teaching you to be out there protesting, burning shit down, taking shit that's not yours, and having your hand out, waiting for the white man to come give you a fucking hug. Right? The same white man that's supposedly the goddamn enemy, right? I've been talking about consistency for like the past like month and a half, and like, look, it still remains. You just need to be able to identify if things are consistent or not, okay? Because if they're inconsistent, then they're feeding you shit. They're feeding you shit. If Black Lives Matter, then how come black businesses don't matter? Huh? Because they're Marxists, and Marxists don't care about shit besides the fucking state. And the state having power. They don't want you having no religion. They don't want you having, no identity. That's it. They would, they want some bullshit. And it's funny? They say they want that, but they don't want that. Because if that's the case, how come Patrice Colors bought $1 million home a couple months ago? I did a video on that. If you're a Marxist, if you're a quote unquote, from her mouth, a trained Marxist, why the fuck are you buying a multi-million-dollar house out in Beverly Hills or some shit like that? That goes against the tenets of Marxism. So again, you're not being consistent. But that's about it, y'all. This video's gone on a little longer than I wanted it to go. I just wanted to get that information out there to y'all. Y'all already know my stance when it comes to holidays. All these holidays are some bullshit. They're fucking Saturnian holidays, and they're all pagan. The fucking Christmas tree. Come on, man. A Christmas tree. You're bringing a damn tree into your fucking house. Come on. I'm not knocking people. I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. I grew up celebrating Christmas, but once you get older and you come into knowledge and understanding, that is pagan, and you're not supposed to be worshiping no fucking tree. First of all, you're not supposed to have a living. Well, they're not living anymore, but a damn tree in your house anyway. Okay, trees are supposed to be outside. Okay, outside. Uh, fuck around, burn your damn house down with a fucking tree. And it's not really a laughing matter. People do die in those fires and stuff like that. But look, it's unfortunate. But look, your shit wouldn't burn down if you didn't have no damn tree in your house. Worshiping and praising the fucking tree. Well, we're not worshiping the tree. We just, no. I think putting glitter and garland and these balls and ornaments on the tree. I think that's fucking worshiping and praising. I think that's what you could call it. So again, I'm not knocking people for choosing to do that, but if you know, then you know, and if you don't know, now you know. All right, but that's it, y'all. Peace.